We'll start with Jameson Olive, FloridaPanthers.com.
Morning, Coach. I'm just curious. Obviously, you've had a lot of experience in Game 7s. I think you're 4-0 last I checked. Does the style of game or even the preparation for the game change when you get into a Game 7?
No, the emotions change, the mood changes. Both teams can get to come to the rink with a certain amount of freedom, right? There's nothing left to be concerned about. It's all energy. It's everything you've got in a short period of time. So the context changes, and both teams will try to get to their identity as fast as they can.
George Richards, Florida Hockey Now.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for doing this morning. How concerned are you right now with the way things have gone? Been outscored, 18-5 these last 3 games. You've got some players who haven't really done much. I mean, is there a concern that this thing certainly isn't trending your way?
I'm not concerned about the past at all, George. Our plan is set. Started last night after the game. Met this morning, did video. Do the same tomorrow, get ready to play. I know it's 3-3. So the concern of the previous 3 games certainly didn't affect Edmonton, and it won't affect us.
Thank you.
Tim Reynolds, AP.
Paul, this is probably too cliche, but how quickly would you have taken this deal if you'd been told you get 1 game at the end of the year in your barn to win the thing, regardless of how you got there? How good of a deal is that?
Yeah, 32 teams are all in on that idea. Embracing that is the key to it. Feeling positive about it, feeling excited about it, and that's coming. Like, both teams should get that opportunity to feel fired up. Game 7 Stanley Cup final, it is set for every young man's dreams. Nobody ever dreamt about a Game 4 overtime winner. It's always Game 7.
Do you have any further questions for Coach? Remember to use the raise hand feature. George, we'll go back to you.
All right, thanks. Sorry to bring this up, but there's going to be a lot of questions about. I know you said you're not thinking about the previous 3 games, but you were up 3-0. There's going to be a lot of talk. How do you kind of keep the guys from talking about it or thinking about, the historical impact of this, of letting a team back in down 3-0? Is there anything you do?
We won't talk about it, George. We'll sit around and stare at. We'll look at Game 7 and look forward to it.
Okay.
Do you feel that you have the upper hand just in terms of Game 7 jitters or nervousness? Do you feel it's your team that has a flow state going, for lack of a better term?
All I can do is speak on behalf of the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know what goes on in Florida. I don't know how they handle things. So I don't think it's fair for me to comment on where they sit. I just know that from my experience with my team, how we've handled elimination games. We've been through some difficult times. We had 2 elimination games against Vancouver, and I have a lot of confidence in our team on how they responded and played in those games. And when we got into the situation being down 3-0 against Florida in this series, I saw a very confident group where there was no panic, no desperation, just a very focused mentality. So I like where our team is. I liked our team where they were when it was down 3-0, and I definitely like where they are now.
Other questions for Kris? Anyone else? We will go back here. Go back here to Donna. Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. It's always important to score the first goal of a game. You know, even in the regular season, it's a good thing. But how magnified has that become in these last 3 games? And again, I'll go back to, you know, scoring first. Does it get you again in that kind of flow state?
Anytime you score first, and one, it calms a lot of jitters. It also forces the opposition to open things up a little bit more and maybe not play with as much defensive structure as they would like, just because they're trying to get back in the game and forcing to score that next goal. So it kind of alleviates a little bit of pressure on your team. But you know, I don't know what the records are when one team scores the first opposed to the other, but it just definitely allows you to play your game.
We'll go next to Alexander. Go ahead, Alexander.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
I can, Alex.
In last night's game, there were some mistakes by the Panthers, also some forced mistakes that led to the first 3 goals, and that gave you another 5-goal game. Now, over the last three games, you had a lot of offensive power. Do you expect that to be diminished more in Game 7 with a more defensive-minded game?
I'm not sure what to expect. The first 3 games, or I should say 2 games in the first 2 periods of the third game, we were very unfortunate not to score goals. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with luck. A lot of that has to do with goaltending. But I thought we had enough scoring chances to put up more goals than we did. And there was only, you know, a certain amount of time where we were going to be held off the score sheet for as long as we were. And, you know, it's that kind of changed at the end of the Game 3 in the third period. We were able to score a couple goals there and led to a huge outburst in the Game 4. Now, do I think we had enough scoring chances to score 8? No, but I think things usually work out, and we capitalized on probably more chances than we usually would in a typical situation like that. You know, going into Game 7, you know, both teams are going to be very desperate, hardworking, but you know, sometimes when you are more desperate and you work harder, sometimes there's more mistakes. Which, when there's mistakes, that's usually how the goal chances occur. So, you know, going into Game 7, I can't really expect what kind of game it's going to be. I just know that our players are going to be excited for it, loving the challenge. They've been enjoying this whole process.
Other questions for Chris? Anyone? Okay, Chris. Oh, hang on. We got one. Sebastian, go ahead.
Hey, Chris. I just wanted to ask you about your Swedish trio of players. If you could speak about how you feel like they've performed, especially in this series.
Yeah. I don't know really how to summarize how well they played, because their contributions have been remarkable. You know, starting with Eki. Eki's been tremendous throughout the whole regular season and throughout the playoffs. And, you know, during the playoffs, we had a little bit of scare. He was sick through one series where he was really under the weather for almost all of it. But he came and played some really good hockey for us. And, you know, I think, you know, the pairing of Bouchard and Ekholm have been really important for us. You know, Eki doesn't have as many points as Bush, but 5-on-5, their offensive contributions are almost identical through the regular season. And then also what he does on the penalty kill is tremendous. A lot of success that we're having on the penalty kill throughout the playoffs. A lot of it has to do with him. He's the first defenseman on the left side for almost every penalty kill start. So his contribution's been great. Now with Janmark, here's a player who, you know, we appreciated through the regular season. And he's only continued to get better and better throughout the playoffs. And, you know, we really appreciate the chemistry of him and Brownie have been really taking their contributions have been tremendous throughout the playoffs, but highlighted through this final series against Florida.